Scam warning: how thieves are tricking people into letting them into their homes and how you can avoid becoming a victim. And the cost of being late: what fans are doing to Madonna after they were upset she started a show over 2 hours behind schedule. You're watching The Rundown. I'm Lynette Romero, in today for Robin Winston. More on those stories in a moment, but first, if it seems like everyone around you is getting sick, you're not necessarily wrong. Doctors and experts are warning us about this season's flu, RSV, and COVID uptick. In LA County, COVID cases and hospitalizations have been rising for several months now, but even though cases are on the rise, state public health officials are recommending shortening the COVID quarantine period from 5 days to just 1. Macy's is laying off more than 2,000 people and shutting down 5 mall locations. The department store says the goal is to trim costs and turn around slowing sales. The company has notified more than 3% of the workforce about these layoffs. The last day for affected employees will be next Friday. Among the 5 locations that are set to close is the Simi Valley store. That closure will happen early this year. And let's get a check of the weather with meteorologist Shauna Mendiola.
Hi, everybody. Rain is on the way for the weekend. Let's go ahead and time it out for you with our current thinking of the timing. Saturday, we've got a chance of showers for you off and on, so it is not going to be a consistent rain and not a washout. For Sunday, same thing with dry periods in between and a shower chance. The heavier rain does arrive, though, as we head to late Sunday and into Monday with moderate intensity rain, meaning that morning commute may be slick for you on Monday. So plan ahead, give yourself extra time. Now, your 7-day forecast for LA shows that being the only chance this week in the 7-day forecast of that rain Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Once we get to Tuesday, we stay dry through Thursday of next week and we warm things up. We'll be in the upper 60s by the end of next week. That's been a look at your forecast. We'll send it right back to you.
Law enforcement in LA and Orange counties are looking for victims who may have been burglarized by thieves pretending to be their alarm company. Orange County's district attorney, LA Sheriff's Department, Anaheim Police, and the LA DA's office announced an arrest in a series of burglaries. Police say 37-year-old Jacinto Chavez is one of possibly 2 or more thieves who posed as employees of the alarm security company Brinks. They believe there are more victims.
In one of our cases, one of our victims was legally blind. Legally blind.
Police say don't let anyone in from a company unless you schedule an appointment. Check their credentials with a photo ID and call the company to make sure this is the person they sent. And a new twist in the murder case of Scott Peterson. 20 years after he was convicted of killing his wife and unborn son, the LA Innocence Project is now taking up his case. In court documents, the Innocence Project says new evidence supports Peterson's long-standing claim of innocence. Attorney Mark Garagos defended Peterson at his trial more than 20 years ago, and here's what he told us on Thursday.
The fact that the Innocence Project is taking on the case tells you, or speaks volumes. It tells you, number one, that they have vetted it. Number two, they've taken a look at this case in every which way. And the Innocence Project nationally has a track record that is unparalleled.
Peterson's attorneys have argued that a burglar killed his wife, Lacey, but prosecutors said Peterson killed her and tried to cover it up by making it appear as if she was missing. Peterson is in prison serving a term of life without the possibility of parole. Lacey was 8 months pregnant with their son, Connor, when she was killed. Her family has not commented on these latest developments. RV parking is now banned overnight in West LA. The City Council approved the move for oversized vehicles between 2 and 6 a.m. The LA Department of Transportation is set to post tow away and no parking signs along various streets, warning drivers. These new restrictions are in addition to several other bans that were approved last year. Homeless counts show the number of people living in RVs in LA County have increased more than 30% in the last 3 years. Governor Newsom used the backdrop of Costa Mesa to celebrate a milestone: 15,000 homes created through Project Home Key. The program is centered on transforming office space, hotels, and other vacant buildings into housing for the homeless. The governor toured a former Motel 6 that has since been converted into 40 permanent Home Key units.
15,000 units that are permanent for one individual. It's the turnover. The idea is to get people back on their feet.
While in Orange County Wednesday, he announced more cities are set to receive grant money, including San Bernardino. New video is now part of an investigation into a company contracted by the city of LA to provide services to the unhoused. It shows a worker spraying water, seemingly ignoring a person very close by, scrambling to gather their belongings. The employee hosing down a sidewalk in Skid Row works for a nonprofit based in San Francisco called Urban Alchemy. The company claims to work to transform human suffering into peace, but Urban Alchemy says this worker's actions were unacceptable. They also say that person is no longer with their company. Now the city controller is looking into the $14 million Los Angeles has paid to Urban Alchemy for its services since 2001.
For those dollars, what kinds of services are our unhoused neighbors getting? And are we getting services that reflect the values of our city? There's no legitimate reason to do that to any individual, including our unhoused neighbors here in Los Angeles.
According to their website, Urban Alchemy services include street cleanup, public safety, interim housing, and outreach. Well, many people use real estate sites like Zillow to check property values. The I-Team has learned it's important that homeowners check these sites often because, as one man learned, there can be incorrect information listed that could mean something has gone terribly wrong.
Like many homeowners, Steve Nelson of Cypress likes to know what his home is worth, so he often checks sites like Zillow. But recently, some unsettling data popped up on the site.
It's hard to describe, but it's just like your heart sinks when you read it.
The site showed Steve's home had been sold a few months earlier, but it hadn't.
I was concerned that somebody had gone in, either stolen our identity or had done something that would transfer ownership of our house over to them.
Panicked, Steve says he repeatedly reached out to Zillow to find out what was going on, but he says he couldn't get a response.
It'd be similar to looking at your investments on an investment website, your 401k balance, for example, and you see that your investments have been sold, or there's nothing in your investments.
Steve then called the county. They told him there had been no activity on his property. That made him feel a little better, but he says Zillow was still ignoring him.
I was still very worried because I did not know the source of Zillow's information.
The I-Team reached out to Zillow. It fixed the problem immediately and told us it was a data entry error. Zillow insists these mistakes don't happen often and says it strives for accuracy on its site.
It's probably good to check your property on Zillow and make sure that there's been nothing that's been misrepresented.
Privacy advocate Haley Kaplan agrees.
With the abundant fraud, if you see something that seems off, it's very smart to look into it further.
Kaplan says Steve's concerns are real. Misinformation like this could have meant his identity had been stolen.
There is so much fraud out there in so many different ways. The cyber criminals are getting more and more clever and more crafty about the way they do things.
Kaplan says when crooks get a hold of your personal information, they can hijack your identity, taking out loans in your name, maybe even a second mortgage on your house. She suggests homeowners check these real estate sites often, and if anything is off, get it cleared up right away, something Steve now does regularly.
And that was Carolyn Johnson reporting. Kaplan says it's also a good idea to sign up for alerts on your credit and bank accounts. That way, anytime there's activity, you are notified, so you'll know if something's wrong. Well, tardiness to her own concert has landed Madonna in legal trouble. Two fans filed a lawsuit against the superstar, accusing her of false advertisement, negligent representation, and unfair and deceptive trade practices. This after she started her Brooklyn concerts last month more than 2 hours late. Now, they claim this isn't the first time she's done this. The fans say by the time the concert was over, there was limited public transportation, and the cost for private transportation was higher at that hour. Madonna, Live Nation, and Barclays Center are all named in that lawsuit. The International Olympic Committee says they are confident the French authorities will be able to keep the Games safe. The city of Paris is preparing for millions of visitors, including 600,000 spectators at the opening ceremony. We're told there will be more than 45,000 security staff deployed during the event. Remember, you can see it all on NBC4 starting July 26th.
You may now be seated as peace officers for the state of California. Congratulations.
A big milestone for dozens of LA County Sheriff's recruits. Academy Class 470 graduated at Star Center in Whittier. Sheriff Robert Luna was there to shake their hands and give them their diplomas. A fun fact about this group, of the 58 graduates, 35 can speak a language other than English. Did you make any charcuterie boards over the holidays? Well, the CDC is now linking a salmonella outbreak to 2 brands of deli meats sold at Costco and Sam's Club. It's urging everyone to avoid the Bussetto brand charcuterie sampler and the Fratelli Beretta brand Antipasto Gran Beretta twin packages. If you bought these meats, the CDC says throw them away. The agency says 47 people have gotten sick, with 10 people being sent to the hospital since investigation began. Scientists are now suggesting that quality is more important than quantity, especially when it comes to our sleep. Researchers from Harvard and a university in Australia follow the sleep habits of 60,000 people. They say sleeping 8 hours is great, but it's more important to have solid, uninterrupted sleep no matter how long it lasts. Their study indicates keeping a regular and consistent sleep schedule can lower your risk from premature death by up to 40%. They also say it can guard against things like cancer, heart attack, stroke, and diabetes. And they say before getting into bed, it's really important to avoid things like food, caffeine, alcohol, and electronics. Put those phones away. Well, there's some new evidence that's showing multivitamins are having an impact on memory. There's a new study out of Mass General Brigham found participants taking multivitamins daily prevented memory loss and slowed the process of cognitive aging by 2 years. The researchers say they are encouraged by the findings because multivitamins are relatively inexpensive and easily accessible.
People should still eat their spinach.
Absolutely, we are saying that multivitamins, dietary supplements will never be a substitute for a healthy diet, healthy lifestyle, regular physical activity, and everything like that. That is really key.
Doctors say the best time to take action is before cognitive decline begins. Monster Jam returns to Southern California. Angel Stadium transformed into a playground for some massive machines. The most famous monster trucks in the world are tearing up the turf at the stadium. After its January 20th and 21st debut, Monster Jam continues on February 3rd and 4th, and then 2 weeks after that on February 17th and 18th. For more information and to get your tickets, you can head over to monsterjam.com. You can always get news and weather updates on the NBCLA app and on our website, nbcla.com. And be sure to tune in to Today in LA on NBC4, weekdays from 4 until 7. We'll be bringing you all the day's headlines. Thanks for watching The Rundown.